$120. That's not bad. I'm gonna give a huge Halloween party in October. I'm renting out a VFW hall and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do huge Halloween parties at my house. We call them Massacreade. We had like 260 people was the max. We did 3 of them, and then it just got so out of hand because I decorated my whole house like a haunted house. Like, I spent months doing this shit, and I'd write a short story for each room of the house. Was a different. It was fucking crazy, but then it got really out of hand. I'm like, we're gonna get so much property damage if this happens again. So.
Oh man.
But it was fun. It was fun. That was also in my younger days when I could drink and stay up late.
I miss those days.
Yeah,
yeah, me too. Far and few between these days for me too.
The Suspiria trailer.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
I need a place that's got a fucking bar, though. 120 people's not bad.
Oh, it certainly looks weird, which is nice. But like, I'll be honest, I really don't like Suspiria. Not like super upset about this remake, but it definitely looks strange. That's a good thing, I guess.
It doesn't look as good as I'm Dreaming of White Doomsday, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, very few films can match that level of quality.
100% true.
I mean, I highly doubt that the Suspiria remake had a $10,000 budget. I mean, come on. Where are you gonna get that kind of money? You know?
So the only thing we're allowed to mention is that it's in the same universe as H2O. Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't say that's the only thing we're allowed to mention. I just don't want to go too specific into the plot because, granted, it is only a short film. So I want to have some surprises for when people actually.
All right, then. Any surprises you'll give away. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or like spoiler alerts. Rene Rivas, right?
Correct.
Cool. All right, the intro is going to be playing. Alright, and we got our regulars joining us.
Vicente just who's that ass?
Vicente.
I hear that guy's a real dick. That Freddy Krueger guy, right?
What'd you call him?
That Freddy Krueger guy, right?
Yeah.
He was probably one of our best guests I'd have to say.
It was fun.
There's just something charismatic about the guy. He's very well spoken, and he
definitely.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to THS Lives here tonight. My name is Brian Enright. You can follow me on Facebook at Brian Enright, or you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Horror Jew. We got a great show for you guys tonight. Well, let's get around this table. Well, next with Jared Letourneau. Jared, hold on real quick. Okay, Jared, you may now speak. Good evening, Jared.
Good evening, Brian, and all the other boils and ghouls at home. You guys can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau or on the Twatverse at zombie_survivor. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, you see him at the film festivals. He's usually hanging out with, Saint Nick. Other than that, you may see him behind a dumpster eating pizza. But here he is. We have Mr. Director, award-winning director, Mike Lombardo. Mike, good evening.
Huh? Oh, when are you going live? These assholes are probably gonna. Oh my god. Hi everybody. I'm Mike Lombardo. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Horror Syndicate Lives. You can find me on a different podcast after this. Back to you, Brian.
Uh-oh.
Different podcast. I can't wait to hear all about that, Mr. Lombardo.
How'd you gonna fire me?
No, I'm not gonna fire you. Ray might fire you. I'm not gonna fire you.
No, I got too much love for that boy.
All right. Speaking about love and Ray, here he is, our president and Fuhrer of the Horror Syndicate, Ray Merrick. Ray, good evening.
Good evening. Razor lives. You can find me at on Twitter at Razor Drinks Gold Peak Tea, as you will see many videos of me drinking Gold Peak iced tea.
Huh.
Yes.
All right. Very cool, Ray. Thank you very much. And of course, we have our special guest of the evening. He is now making a fan film short called "The Spirit of Haddonfield." Here we have director Rene Rivas with us. Good evening, Ray. Or Rene. I'm so sorry. I knew eventually I was going to fuck that up.
Greetings, everyone. I also have my tea here and sitting in beautiful Flagstaff, Arizona.
Yay.
All right.
Good to be here.
It's good to have you, man. So thank you for joining our show, our little show where we talk about fantasy and board games. Mike's going to kick it off with being the DM for tonight. So we have Spirit of Haddonfield, not to be confused with Spirit of Halloween, which is a store, but Spirit of Haddonfield is a short fan film based off of the Halloween franchise, which we're very excited to hear about. And it looks like you have a fan favorite, Vincent DeSanti, starring as the as one of the players in your movie. But I'm going to shut the hell up. Let's talk about it. So you got the Spirit of Haddonfield. What's going on? How did that all get started?
Let's see. Well, I guess, even way before I knew Vincent DeSanti, the seed of the idea kind of started in 2014. And it was a different story that I was trying to tell. It was basically a slash and stock, but it had nothing to do with Halloween. And long story short, that script got canned. And there's a specific stretch of neighborhood in Flagstaff that, going back 5, 6, 7 years, it's always reminded me of Haddonfield. And I kind of always told myself, one of these days I am going to use this stretch of neighborhood for something, but I just didn't have an idea yet. And then let's see. And then I jumped on board to Never Hike Alone as an associate producer and then a grip. About halfway through, they were halfway through the production, and then I jumped in, and I was a Kickstarter at the associate producer level. Long story short, it was very inspiring working with Vince and his team and seeing see them grind away. And it's just a total honor to be a part of that film. And I don't know, after they wrapped, I was kind of picking my brain and thinking about that old story. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've been aware of fan films for a handful of years. I just haven't seen too many of them. And I'd never really considered taking on a fan film myself. And honestly, I tip my hat 100% to Vince and his team. It really inspired me to move forward and kind of be like, you know what, I'm gonna take a crack at it, and I'm gonna do a fan film of my personal favorite franchise, which is the Halloween franchise. And I wrote the script in September. And I pitched it to Vince. I was sitting in the parking lot in my favorite coffee shop, and I called up Vince, and it was, I think, about 2 weeks after he launched Never Hike Alone, maybe. And I called him up. I was like, hey, man, I want to pitch you something, and, kind of get some feelers on it, see what you think. Mm-hmm. And basically he was like, yeah, I mean, sounds great. And, he's seen some of my work. I wouldn't say some of my short films, but prior to the Spirit of Haddonfield, I release a lot of like montage style edits. I'm a big into cinematography, and I'm an editor. And so basically he knew what I was capable of in the technical stance. So I think he kind of trusted the fact that, well, let's see if this guy can tell a story. And basically pitched him the script. He read it, had some great ideas, and further along the line, contributing ideas, he was brought up to a co-producer level. Because my script, I liked the original script, but there was some holes that I needed to plug, and he had some fantastic ideas to contribute, which turned it into a better product. But I specifically remember last September, I was talking to my girlfriend, and I was kind of stressing out about the fact that I released about a year and a half ago. Well, it hasn't even been released yet. It's a full feature sci-fi character drama called Northern, and it hasn't been released yet. And I was kind of dragging my feet on that, just like, I really want people to see what I'm capable of as a filmmaker, and just time is going on. My film is sitting on my computer, and the gears were turning. I needed something to, you know, sink my teeth into. So I kind of had the mindset of, you know, I'm going to do a fan film 100% for free, and I'm going to release it for free. So not only people can see that I'm a capable and competent filmmaker and I can tell a story, but, you know, basically show my chops ultimately. And then come October, I wrote this. Let's see, thought back this far a bit. I wrote the script towards the end of September, dipping into October, and then we went into production towards the end of October. We actually filmed some pretty cool scenes on Halloween last year. So
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
It was something else, man. Like we're filming on this street. It's called North LaRue in Flagstaff, and it just feels like Haddonfield. And we're running around with cameras and actors, and you know, people are looking at us like, like Michael Myers walking around with cameras following him, and it was a surreal experience. I really had a good time with it, and honestly, I can say, you know, not Northern. I mean, Northern was a blast. Never Hike Alone was a blast, but this was like the ultimate dream come true to work on a fan film, because in all reality, it's tough in Hollywood, and when will I ever be able to work on an actual Halloween property? Probably never. So I just kind of decided I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna tell my own little self-contained Halloween story. And we went into production in October, pressed pause for a couple months, and then we went back into production in January and wrapped this thing at the end of January. And then I pretty much lived in post pretty much February, and finished it in February. Basically had to stay quiet about the project for 2 months, and made the formal announcement on April 7th, I believe. And it's basically just been full on marketing mode. And it was a really interesting trajectory, because Vince was like, and a couple other people like, you're not going to get help on this. You're just going to do it all on your own and not tell anybody about it. I thought it was an interesting approach, like creating something and finishing it without saying a word about it, and then being like, this is what we cooked up, and it'll be out this time. And that's what we did. And I'm very proud of it. It's a fun little self-contained, scary Halloween story.
Now, when you were shooting Spirit of Haddonfield, and you had all these people watching you, did they really think you were shooting the actual upcoming Halloween movie that's directed by David Gordon Green?
No. As flattering as that would have been, a couple neighbors actually did come up to me, and they're like, "What is going on here?" And I clued them in, because there's this weird guy walking around. Like I spent probably 2 weeks in that neighborhood, just scoping the scene and just location scouting and just picking out my location. So I was in that neighborhood pretty frequently before production. And then finally, some neighbors started approaching me, and I was like, you know, I'm doing a Halloween fan film for fun. And some of them were like, "Oh, that's cool," and some of them were like, "Okay."
Creeping around a neighborhood of the camera. I find that neighbors don't like that so much.
No. And actually, during production, somebody called the cops on us. So as we're about to wrap night 2 in our interior location, I noticed 2 police officers walk up, and they're like, I was like, okay, no big deal. And I went and talked to them, and they're like, yeah, basically somebody called about suspicious activity. Somebody's walking around the neighborhood, and yeah, we were doing takes with Michael walking around the neighborhood, and our location's all lit up. And I was like, yeah, this is a for fun, for free passion project. And they basically were like, yeah, make sure you call us next time, because we're getting calls about this.
It's easier. forgiveness than permission. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, it was very very rogue, and I don't know. I think I would have had a much harder time if I say I would have gone to Pasadena and tried to shoot these scenes there. You know, Flagstaff, it's not necessarily known for being a film community, so it's just a couple people running around with some cameras. But it was an interesting process, looking around at people giving us weird looks and kind of, you know, it was a blast though, and it's kind of weird to think about how much time has gone by, because we shot in October of last year and we shot in January. Quite some time has gone past, but
yeah,
it was fun.
So, Rene, do you think having Vincent in your cast and just there on set, do you think it helped your production go a little bit more smoother?
Oh, absolutely. Like, Vince is, like I said, he's a very charismatic guy, and he's just an inspiring person to be around. He radiates, you know, excitement. He's just stoked. And seeing him work on Never Hike Alone, I was really kind of doing the homework then and there, watching his crew do their thing, and I was just like, man, it'd be so cool to approach Vince to see if he'd be interested in working on something with me. And yeah, absolutely. You know, he's a very talented filmmaker. And as you guys all saw with Never Hike Alone, super kick-ass Friday the 13th fan film. I have the poster signed right there, and it actually says, Rene, so glad to have you on the project. Look forward to many other projects. So I kind of went for it and pitched it to him and thought he might be interested, and he was. And Vince and I have since become pretty good friends, and he's a great guy, and you know, the camaraderie is building for sure. And I basically approached Vince through Facebook like almost 2 years ago, saying, hey, Never Hike Alone is looking great, would love to be a part of it, super killer production value. And now almost 2 years later, we're like great buddies, and I'm very thankful to have him on the project. And yeah, absolutely, it's definitely a better, more cohesive piece.
That's cool.
Now that he's on it.
That's cool.
We have a question from Facebook land. You know, every now and then we get some hard-hitting questions here on Facebook. This one comes from from a huge fan of ours. This is Joe Ridgely with Technical Defects Podcast. He says, are you trying to fit in with the continuity of Halloween, or is this completely separate?
So, I mean, granted, it is its own separate story. It does fall canon into an alternate Halloween H2O universe. Let's say, like, this is a question a lot of people have been asking me. Let's say if Halloween H2O didn't end the way it did, the Shape didn't get his head cut off, spoiler, this is the story that would have subsequently happened. And, you know, that's just the approach I took, and I felt that my story was good enough to make a short film. And so, yeah, it definitely falls canon into the Halloween H2O universe.
Got it. So completely ignoring the travesty that was called Halloween Resurrection, even though they had a badass Walmart sale, $5 for a Halloween Resurrection shirt.
Yeah, sorry to the fans that dig Resurrection, but this pretty much retcons everything after H2O.
I know you don't want to flash into spoilers, but is Busta Rhymes going to be making an appearance?
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't lock down Busta Rhymes for this one, but maybe next time.
Well, you got to Santi. I mean, it's almost Busta Rhymes.
Yeah. No, I mean, Resurrection, it is what it is, but no, it has nothing to do with Resurrection.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, you know, being a Halloween movie and everything, I assume that we're expected to see a lot of crazy kills from Mike Myers, and you know, of course, you know, seeing from the teaser trailer that we played in the beginning, with the pumpkin bleeding from the top of its crown, you know, we're definitely going to be able to see a lot of violence and bloodshed in this short film of The Spirit of Haddonfield.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't want to discourage anybody, but I am definitely 100% leaning towards suspense versus gore, however you want to translate that. So, you know, as a filmmaker, I've always, you know, I like splatterfests. don't get me wrong, I like them, but I much prefer being at the edge of my seat and tense from suspense. And that's 100% the approach that I took on the Spirit of Haddonfield.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a suspense-derived piece. I wouldn't say it's a gore fest.
So go ahead.
The Halloween movies never really were all that violent.
No, I was just gonna say that. I mean, that's the suspense is what makes first movie so good.
True.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very
Definitely
true.
went for atmosphere over the red stuff.
Exactly.
But Halloween Resurrection, it's been a long time since I've seen it. That's one where they clone Laurie Strode and she's half Michael Myers, right?
I think so.
Okay. I'm trying to get the timelines correct here. But
no, that's Friday the 13th Resurrection.
Is it? That one had DMX in it, right? That was their rap cameo.
Starring Victor Miller.
Yeah. Jesus.
That's the one.
No, that was Phantasm Resurrection.
Fucking Victor Miller.
But so you're definitely paying more of an homage to classic Halloween, because John Carpenter's Halloween, the very first one, what was so scary about that wasn't the actual killing itself, but the fact that Mike Myers could drive a car and stalk teenagers as they were leaving high school, and he wasn't just like your Jason Voorhees where he's just running around killing people. Like he went into a store, stole a mask, like he pretty much like robbed the store. He stole a car. He was driving around the car. He was sneaking around. He wasn't like out in the street just like slashing at everyone that went by him. And of course, the little boy in the beginning of the movie runs into him and just kind of runs away. And it seems like Mike Myers has more humanistic a more humanistic approach than like say a Jason Voorhees. But what worked for Halloween was that it's the fear of the boogeyman is right behind you, and you don't know what he's going to do. So that's what you're aiming for, or that's what you've accomplished with the Spirit of Haddonfield.
That's 100% what we were aiming for. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love blood and splatter, but that's if you're expecting a splatter fest for the Spirit of Haddonfield, you're probably going to be let down, because I'm 100% going for suspense here. And while it does take place in a Halloween H2O universe, it feels like the original more so than the H2O. But I don't know. It's a fun piece. It's a fun piece, and I'm really excited for people to see it. It's been interesting sitting on it for so long, because now I'm watching it. I'm like, no, it's suspense driven, and that's 100% been the trajectory from the beginning. And
I'm glad that you chose to go with the route of Halloween 2, Halloween H2O, instead of Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2, because that probably would have been a disaster, unless that's something that you thought about doing.
No, I just, the original Halloween has always resonated with me. Like, I specifically remember I think I was 4 or 5 years old, and for some reason I was in my parents' room, and Halloween, I didn't know at the time, was playing on Telemundo. It was playing on the TV on Telemundo. So I remember watching probably half of it and just being so scared, and I'm pretty sure that got into my psyche and like made me like afraid of the dark or some crazy shit. But yeah, Halloween has always kind of been a huge staple and big inspiration for me as a filmmaker. And I think it reflects when you see the short film. Like, a lot of my cinematography style like reflects Dean Cundy style, and I use like a lot of wide masters for establishing area. You'll see, but it's fun.
Now, are you also utilizing the more synthesizer approach, the way that John Carpenter pretty much made his own or composed his own music, and then later on teaming up with Alan Howarth? Are you aiming to do that type of synthesizer score with this movie, or are you doing some type of more modern sounds like like a transformer booting up or something? No, I'm kidding. But like just more like earthy, like atmospheric tones and sounds?
Well, it's funny because I've never talked about this, and I know it's going to be the subject of scrutiny. But since the beginning, this has been a 100% free project that is going to be released for free on YouTube. And as you guys know, you've probably seen a plethora of Halloween fan films. This fan film does contain some copyrighted music.
Okay.
So I did. Let me back up a little bit. I did initially try and score it myself because I've been producing music since I was 17, and so I tried to go that route, but it was immensely slowing me down. And I just kind of figured, you know what, that's probably not the route that I should take. So I did end up using some copywritten music, but it's not like you're hearing a song from 0 to 3 minutes. I'm using pieces, and I created an original arrangement. Mm-hmm. So stuff is blended together.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a let's put it this way, it's a mishmash of old and new, which I'm pretty stoked on. It's a fun. The music complements the visuals very well, but with that being said, it does contain some copyrighted music, so that's why its only intent is to live on YouTube. And,
yeah,
and it's all the music that I've used, I've purchased, and I've purchased the music, and I'm just creating free art. I'm just creating art.
And that's kind of a big risk. I know you mentioned before that it's a very competitive industry to make movies and get them known, and you're taking a big risk publicity wise, but also financially wise when you're making a fan film that you're not really making money back, but more of exposure, and dedicating a lot of time and process to it without making any money back. That's a big risk for a filmmaker, especially as someone who's just trying to get into making bigger movies. But it's really cool that you have Vincent working with you, because his movie Never Hike Alone was completely successful as soon as it hit YouTube, and I am looking forward to Spirit of Haddonfield being successful as soon as it hits YouTube, because you guys sounds like you have a really cool passion project, that you're promoting and that you're going to be releasing a trailer very soon. I assume
this coming Monday. And just to interject on what you were saying prior, this 100% from the beginning has never been about money. My last project, Northern, it was my first attempt at creating an independent picture and trying to flip the product and get distribution. A for-profit venture. Music that I created myself using novice actors, but we did a good job. This is completely different because I guess I kind of got discouraged that I spent 2.5 years of my life making this feature and no one's seen it yet, so I was kind of dragging my feet. Well, I'm going to create something for free and release it for free so people can see what I can do. I mean, more or less, it is kind of like a business card, but it's also tipping my hat to my favorite franchise of all time, and it is 100%. I'll say this right now: it's 100% an homage piece, but it does have flares of originality in it, and but it is an homage piece, and that's I guess that was my mindset. I'm not going to make any money on this. I'm going to work on something. I'm going to finance it myself. I'm going to work my day job, and I'm going to put money aside, and we're going to shoot this thing on weekends. I didn't take the crowdfunding route. I just wanted to 100% make this my baby, I guess. I don't know. It's you know what I mean. It's never been about the money.
Labor of love.
Yes, sir.
No, I mean that's really awesome. It sounds like you have a lot of heart towards this project, and you're hoping for success, but not only the success, but being able to tell your story of a franchise that you've been a huge fan of for a very, very long time, since you were 5 years old watching your Halloween on Telemundo.
Yeah, my parents and I'm pretty sure my girlfriend doesn't get it. I'm just, we're all horror movie nuts, and I feel like the older I get, I'm 33 now. The older I get, I'm just embracing it with open arms. Like, I got the mask right there. I got the Jason bust next to it, and like posters everywhere. It's just like, if this is what you want to do, fucking do it.
Now, are you afraid of fan backlash?
That's something I've definitely talked with Vince about. It's inevitable. There is going to be people that are going to tear me apart. There's going to be people that, I'm going to be the subject of scrutiny, and that's the risk that anybody takes when they're going to create something and put it on the internet for people to consume and build their own opinions about it. But, I have to make sure that I don't let it affect me. I just have to keep my filter strong and basically just have confidence and, be stoked on what I'm releasing. And if there's going to be naysayers and people giving me shit, then they're just jealous that they can't create something themselves. It's the fact of the matter of that's going to happen. It's going to happen, and there's nothing I can do about that.
No, I completely hear you. And, sometimes, you just got to tone out the, opinions from others who are watching your project and have nothing but negative comments to make about it. But in the end, you're the one who made it, your own feature. You created it. You went through this process, and it's out there for eternity. There's nothing that could take it away. It's done. It's going to be out there. And, the people who are, upset or they wanted their own stories, maybe they could have put the time and effort to make their own original ideas or, try to do something you did. But you did it. You told your story, and now it's going to be available very soon on YouTube, which I'm really excited for. These guys know me. I cannot stand the Halloween series. I think it is the worst out of the main three, the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. The only ones I liked were 1, 2, and 3. The rest of them I didn't care about. And Halloween H2O was great because it wrapped up. I felt like that legitimately wrapped up the original storyline. But as far as when it comes to like 4, 5, Curse of Michael Myers, and so I couldn't really get into it. It just didn't seem like a Halloween movie, more than it just seemed like some type of. It seemed like another fan fiction, but it definitely isn't my favorite series. I know these guys love Halloween 4, and I know the Horror Syndicate fans love the Curse of Michael Myers. But yeah.
Well, just to throw something out there, people have asked me why H2O, like why did you choose H2O, and to be honest, Halloween H2O was the first Halloween movie I saw in theaters. I was 13 years old, and it was the first time I saw Michael Myers on the big screen. So there's a lot of nostalgia and good memories attached to it. I specifically remember being super butthurt when his fucking head got chopped off. But I don't know. I personally like Halloween. Yeah, it has a lot of garbage attached to it. 4 masks. Mikey walks pigeon-toed and a handful of other weird things. But I like Halloween H2O. It's got the Kevin Williams feel. That's whatever. But
I like H2O. I thought it was fun. I liked it a lot as a kid. The dumbwaiter death in the leg, that was so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I like H2O, and I guess that's just the route that I wanted to take,
I just, the continuity of it was weird. I just don't know how someone who gets shot point blank in both of his eyes and then get burned to death be able to come back and make 5 other movies. But it happened.
Well, you know how they do that, Brian?
How they do that?
Blumhouse buys the rights to the franchise. That's how you survive that.
But hey, not just Blumhouse, but you had Rob Zombie take a swing at it at one point. You had Busta Rhymes take a couple of flying sidekick swings at it. You know what? I've never seen Resurrection, and I don't know if that's something I should probably invest 2 hours in.
Oh
but
man, it's like a direct to TV Halloween movie. It's fun in its own right, but you can't take it seriously.
It's funny you say that because I actually saw it on opening night, prepaid for tickets.
Nice.
I remember the trailer for that being so deceiving because it was like it's like this year he's back, you know, like the crazy the voiceover actor who did like every fucking movie from like the 90s and so forth, and it's just like
Michael Myers
people
is back again.
and it's like, you know, and you see Busta Rhymes go in a house and they're all like recording like this video, like live stream and everything. Before live stream became like live stream, it was like it kind of was like what's it called, the dark web, and it's just, you know, it has all these teenagers getting together, and then you see like the mask, and you're like, oh shit, and then like the very end of the trailer, you see Laurie Strode, she come back, she's like, hello, Michael, and it's like, oh my god, there's gonna be a fucking showdown between Laurie Strode and Mike Myers again. And then the movie, which I've only watched the first 10 minutes of the movie, and I was like, I don't want to waste any more time with this. But in that
I don't know, man. It had potential. I remember seeing it in the theater when I was 17, and going into it, I was like, okay. And then when the movie ended, I was like, you know, it wasn't the greatest feeling. But, you know.
Homecoming also.
But the Blumhouse one, Laurie Strode finally comes back for the first time to fight Mike Myers. Except for the other 3 times she did it. But they killed her. They killed her in that, right? Didn't she get like thrown off a roof or something? It's been a long fucking time since
Out of the window, yeah, in like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, first 10 minutes. Just
it was basically like the Spectre thing in the James Bond. Where they just what's his face? They drop him down the chimney in the wheelchair without showing his face. It's just a body double of Laurie Strode.
not the
My
greatest.
arch nemesis, who shall not be named for copyright reasons.
They definitely were onto something with that idea, though. Like you were saying, it kind of like predated like reality television and predated live streaming. Like you were saying, the idea was sound. It was just like the execution just felt off.
And I mean, it was the turn of the millennium, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was very prevalent on
Maybe they
computers.
should add Redman. I think that would have saved it instead of Buster.
Redman. Not RZA or GZA, just Redman. You don't want to bring the whole Wu-Tang Clan in there?
I don't know. He was doing movies around that time, wasn't he?
Yeah, you could have ODB hanging out in the closet.
Wait, did he die before or after Halloween Resurrection?
After.
Okay, because I would say, like, if he died before, having him in a closet, I guess would have made sense, considering it's a horror movie. But don't want to do that. So we have all these movies coming out. They just announced that they're remaking Child's Play.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, they're remaking Child's Play. And Rene, since I have you here, I know fan films and remakes are completely different sides of the spectrum. What do you feel about successful remakes, especially remakes that are they're not even finished yet with their original franchise? What do you think about like all the movies that are beloved by fans being remade for the modern era?
You know, I definitely have my opinions on them. Some of them are garbage, and some of them are pretty fun. Like I thought the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in 2003 was well done.
Yeah, man.
I had issues with the Friday the 13th remake. I mean, some people hold that in very high regard, but I'm just not one of them. I did not like the characters. I did not like the score. Jason felt very oafy. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake kind of speaks for itself, so I don't really need to go into that. I don't know. I guess the fact of the matter is it's going to keep happening, so we're just going to have to acclimate to it. You know, what I've kind of been thinking about lately is I kind of have a hunch that this would be kind of cool that, you know, we have subgenres, we have horror, comedy, whatever. I kind of feel like certain franchises are gonna establish their own genres. Like, who knows? Halloween could survive for another 50, 60 years, and it could be its own subgenre in, you know, with horror movies, but it's just a wacky idea because they're just going to keep cranking these things out and they're going to get worse. But, you know, whatever. But, you know, I like some of them. The Child's Play, that was kind of a shocker. I definitely really like the Child's Play movies, 1 through 3. You know, the latter, they kind of get a little satirical and meta, and I don't know. It's just kind of...
Yeah, I like that about them, but I don't like Bride. I didn't like the direction in that. But Seed of Chucky, I thought was brilliant. I went to go see it as a joke.
Of course you did.
And that movie...
That movie's the biggest pile of shit ever.
Okay. In defense of Seed of Chucky, the only defense of Seed of Chucky needs is it's got fucking John Waters in it, right? That alone is amazing. But that movie was so goddamn
John Waters.
God bless the little people.
Oh,
I don't understand what people love about John Waters.
Oh, he's so good. That movie was so smart, though. Like, there was so much. That's what I liked watching the franchise evolve, because Don Mancini? Is that his name? Mancini?
Don Mancini.
Mancini, yeah.
It's really interesting to see him evolve with the times, because he wrote all of them. So it's really cool to kind of watch him, you know, kind of change his own creation, let it evolve into something, you know, organically. But it never feels like a parody of itself. It's always very smart and satirical, and I think that's where it works. But I don't like the newest ones they put out, Cult and Curse, because they're trying to make them serious and scary again. I'm like, it was never scary. It's a fucking doll. Like, it's not frightening. I'm sorry. I mean, what was frightening about the original is growing up in a single-parent household and being a neglected child. Like, all the subtext in all those movies is what made them stand the test of time. It wasn't, you know, a pint-sized thing that was frightening, at least not for me. But, you know, I think after the first 3, you kind of did all you can do with that, and then they had to go satirical and meta, because what else are you going to do with it? You could be like Friday the 13th and make like 17 sequels that are carbon copies of themselves, and it's you know, it's like the people complain about the remake of it. It's like, well, you already have 16 other ones you can watch. They're the same fucking movie over and over again.
I mean, that's just to touch on that. I just saw the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom last night, and unfortunately, as however you feel about that, they have to change the structure to keep.
Well, absolutely, because they can't. You can't have the park again. And I watched it. I'm like, I didn't really care for it. It was fun. I'm like, okay, they made a horror movie, but then I'm not going to spoil the ending for anyone who hasn't watched it yet. But I really just want to go and pitch to the studio heads, please remake Carnosaur.
Oh my god!
Because that's what they're doing. Like, you're just like
Carnosaur.
The third act of Lost World Fall or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was Dino Crisis the movie, except it was PG-13. So it's like, just fucking remake Carnosaur and just let it be violent. Like, come on.
Yeah, put Jeff Goldblum in it too.
Well, no, you see, Jurassic Park had Jeff Goldblum. Carnosaur has Clint Howard. I really don't. I think Clint Howard.
One is a super sexy stud, and the other one is Jeff Goldblum.
Yep. And, you know, and not only does Clint Howard, but Clint Howard, like, grotesquely eating chicken drumsticks a lot in close up. It's really wonderful. It really is. Like, Carnosaur is a wonderful movie.
Did they make 3 of those?
They did. Well, okay.
They made 4.
Oh,
wait,
shit.
The 4th one?
It's called Raptor.
Oh, those. Okay, so I was going to say they actually only made 2, and then they recycled footage from the others to make an additional sequel. But I guess that I believe Raptor was just footage from Carnosaur mixed with a couple new clips. I didn't know that was considered part of the series.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I've definitely researched it. I didn't know there was a part 4.
I bought it at Hollywood Video Used when I was a kid, thinking it was a new movie. I didn't realize it was a Carnosaur movie, and then half of it was Carnosaur. I'm like, you bastards! It's like, you clever girls. You
Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 approach.
That's exactly what it was. Except it wasn't told as flashback. It was literally just they restructured. They filmed new scenes, and then they recycled the death scenes from the original.
Did somebody yell Garbage Day?
Garbage Day.
Garbage Day.
The worst recycled movie of all time is Sleepaway Camp: The Last Survivor, or whatever it's called.
No,
it's like you got it part of that the survival kit, and it was like in its own little it didn't even have its own DVD case. It had its own slip cover. Yeah,
they actually almost got sued because of the Red Cross symbol.
They did.
Oh.
Yeah, so they had to change their packaging.
Yeah, I have the original one. It's worth a bunch of money now for some reason.
Nice.
But I thought Jared, Brian, I thought you were talking about the actual Sleepaway Camp 4 they did. Well, there's two.
The Return to
Sleepaway Camp that the same director, Robert Hiltzik, made. That movie was unwatchable. And then there was actually another one that was footage from The Last Survivor. They took all that footage and they made a story around it.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they made like an hour movie out of it, but really it was only 20 minutes of footage and it was just the one guy and the one girl, and then the rest of the movie was like all these like flashback scenes from like the original trilogy, and it was really bad. It was really bad.
Yeah. Well, the Hiltzik directed sequel was freaking awful too. The one the kid runs around going, "Your fart smell like, or your butt stinks." That's what it is, over and over again. And then they put someone's head in a bird cage and put rats in it. I'm like, my favorite Sleepaway Camp death. It goes from film to DV like constantly because they ran out of money. And I'm like, I admire the fact they finished it, but they really should.
Who was in it?
They had the cast from the original.
No, I know that Felissa Rose was in it, but
the kid, the brother, was in it.
Was Isaac Hayes in it? Was that like the last movies before he died?
I don't remember. I know there was a chef character, but I don't know who it was. They had the brother back. They had the camp director back. They had a whole bunch of people back.
I remember it was on Netflix, like streaming for like a short period of time before Netflix became all high and mighty, and pretty much like back when Netflix had a pretty cool fucking horror selection, and then they're just like, screw it, we're just gonna put these movies on that no one ever watches. But I'm glad that I got to see Return to Sleepaway Camp on there. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to know how to handle myself in part of this conversation. We're talking about Carnosaur and fucking Sleepaway Camp.
I regret it's been 12 years and I'm still upset about it.
but hopefully, the Spirit of Haddonfield doesn't have any Carnosaurs running around the streets attacking children.
The Spirit of Haddonfield is Carnosaur 3.
Carnosaur 3, they have the Marines. Carnosaur 3 is badass. So if Haddonfield is anything like Carnosaur 3, you can count me among the first people to watch it.
So, I haven't really said this yet, but just to touch on Spirit of Haddonfield again, I would consider this a nice little appetizer for the Blumhouse coming up. I'm not trying to take away any of their steam, but I want to give people a nice little ride before the main event, because as we all are, I can't fucking wait to see the new Blumhouse movie. Mm-hmm. And it's a very surreal moment that we have a new Halloween movie coming out with John Carpenter executive producing, with John Carpenter doing the score, and Danny McBride. At first, I was like, what the fuck? And David Joseph Green. I was a little inquisitive on that, but I can't wait to see what they cook up.
Well, see, with Danny McBride, I was really surprised about that too. And then when I saw Alien Covenant, I'm like, I love Danny McBride, like kind of down, he's phenomenal. But I'm like, the fuck is he in an Alien movie? And then I'll tell you, 2.5 hours later, I stood up in that theater and I said, that motherfucker was the only good part about this movie.
Yeah,
he didn't actually act like dramatically. I'm like, wow, I never gave him enough credit. Like, this guy is really fucking good. And now I'm wondering, I wonder how good of a writer he is. I'm willing to definitely give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, he really impressed me.
I'm surprised. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, let's look at John Krasinski. I personally thought A Quiet Place was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he did a great job too.
I still need to see that.
Same.
It was cool.
It's cool stuff.
It was basically Tremors meets Blind Fury. Is that correct?
Wasn't that what I said in the fucking chat to piss what's his face off? Side note, he was talking about how everyone was complaining about it. I said Trevor's did it better. I was in the car on the way back and flipping out. I was in such an assy mood that day.
So, if you could have any movie in the horror franchise to direct, that's any movie. I'm not talking about a fan film. I'm talking about someone says to you, "I'm going to greenlight this project. We want to attach you as a writer and a director for it." What horror franchise would you like to bring to the table, Rene?
I mean, I feel like I can't automatically go to my defaults. If I was presented an opportunity to have any affiliation with an actual Halloween property, I would do it in a heartbeat. Friday the 13th. I know we were just talking about remakes. If anyone presented an opportunity for me to take on a remake, I would do Maximum Overdrive or Duel.
Okay.
Oh.
But here's my question to you, Rene.
Oh.
How could you possibly improve Maximum Overdrive?
I don't know. But a buddy of mine,
do cocaine.
a buddy of mine, I've been talking about that for years. Like, how fun would it be to see a modern day Maximum Overdrive? Like, that would just be a fucking blast. But yeah, to probably, you know, if presented, I would love to work on a Halloween movie one of these days. I'd love to work on a Friday movie. Just my go-tos, really.
That's interesting. You said Maximum Overdrive.
That movie's a blast.
That's my favorite Stephen King movie.
That's like my fourth favorite Emilio Estevez movie.
Emilio, and what number? So Jared, you have Mighty Ducks 2, and Mighty Ducks 3, and then you have Maximum Overdrive. Is that your Emilio Estevez?
Pretty close.
Top 4.
I'm sorry. Where was Repo Man in there?
Right. I definitely would have to say the first Young Guns, though, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Men at Work with his brother Charlie Sheen. You guys remember that shit?
Oh yeah, the trash man.
Yeah.
Emilio,
and if it was any of the Mighty Ducks movies, it would be D2 all the way.
D2 Judgment Day, right?
Emilio was in this one movie, and it was the best movie he was ever in, besides Maximum Overdrive, of course. But this was a little-known comedy called National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie.
So good.
I remember that one.
It really flew under the radar, but it's so much funnier than a lot of the slapstick comedy. I think it's, in my opinion, it's way better than the Naked Gun movies combined. And I know I'm breaking some hearts here, but I think it's funnier than Airplane. I think it's funnier than Naked Gun. I think it's funnier than Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2.
You said Hot Shots.
Hot Shots. That's my movie. Yeah, I have some hot sharts. But you guys, have you guys ever seen National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been years.
I vaguely remember, but I love Hot Shots 1 and 2, and I really love the original Naked Gun. Leslie Nielsen is king. Airplane I'm not a big fan of, but I can't imagine a National Lampoon's movie being funnier than a Leslie Nielsen flick, though. I'll have to rewatch it.
It's all right. So it's Emilio Estevez, Samuel L. Jackson. It's an homage to making fun of Lethal Weapon, and Emilio is Briggs, and Samuel Jackson is Murtaugh, and the villain is Tim Curry and William Shatner. And it's a wild movie. You gotta check it out.
You definitely get the impression he's trying to ride Charlie Sheen's Hot Shots like coattails, basically, but it's a good movie.
So is horror your only shtick, Rene? Like, is that like your only genre, like your go-to genre? Do you have any other genres that you're trying to pursue in filmmaking?
I mean, mainly, I don't necessarily want to be pigeonholed as a horror director. I love horror, and I always have been since I was a little kid. But I want to delve in other areas. You know, I have a script that is a time travel script, and I need to finish that, and that's kind of like more of a psychological sci-fi thriller. I wouldn't mind delving into some comedy. What I hear is one of the hardest genres to take on. And to talk about my previous movie, Northern, I like sci-fi. I like sci-fi, but I didn't. I kind of inadvertently took on a sci-fi project accidentally, and just went for it. But no, I want to tell all kinds of stories. I I keep telling people I want to scare the shit out of people, and I seriously do. I sincerely want to scare the shit out of people, but I want
brother neighborhood.
but I don't want to be Mr. Horror guy, you know. I want to be all over the place if I can, if presented the opportunity.
Hell yeah. So I noticed
good.
I was just noticing his posters in the background. I saw you got Jaws back there.
Oh yeah.
So like every year around the 4th of July, I usually marathon the movies. And I proposed to the guys in one of our group chats, would you rather start from the first and end with Revenge on the 4th of July, or would you rather go backwards and end with the first one on the 4th?
That's an interesting question.
Are they all 4th of July movies?
I mean, I don't think the 4th one's set around Christmas time, but the first two are definitely around like 4th of July time.
I didn't know sharks came around during Christmas time. But go ahead.
It was in the Bahamas.
Yeah, man, the Christmas.
I guess that really depends on if you want to end your movie spree with dynamite or with a firecracker.
Right.
You know? So I don't know.
Backwards. First to, well, actually, I don't know if I'd say that the second one's better than the third one. The third one's in 3D.
It's funny because I just bought the Blu-ray, the Part 3 in 3D, and it actually comes with a legit 3D version, not the red and blue.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun to see it in 3D.
Oh shit!
Was it a 3D TV?
Scary?
Yeah.
Like, was it worth it? Was it like, does it enhance the movie?
It's pretty cool.
The part where the guy gets swallowed whole, that still fucking freaks me out.
That like the POV of the chompers in front of them.
That's like my nightmare, is getting swallowed alive by something while underwater. So it's like the worst of both scenarios.
Is that why you like Sister Act 2?
Well, when Whoopi gets swallowed and digested for 1,000 years in that thing. Was that Sister Act? No, that was Sister Act 3. Wasn't it? Dude, it's been so long. I get them all mixed up.
Sister Act 3, The Habit is Back.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah, that's the one that has the gremlin face truck, right? That's gonna be the rest of his movie too, Sister Act 3. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Well, that was good.
We may not have warned you, Rene, but we're kind of goofy.
Yeah.
I'm a goofy bastard too. I just need to warm up.
You want a beer?
I'm chilling with my tea right now.
There you go.
Later.
All right. I can't send you a beer through Wi-Fi, except I could be drunk and send that to you on Wi-Fi. If that makes any sense. So what horror movie? What top 5 horror movies would you recommend to any kid getting into the horror franchise? I know that a lot of us start young, and it brings me back to the point that you made earlier, that you watched Halloween on Telemundo, but you still watched Halloween as a child, and it's that being a kid and watching horror movies for the first time is one of the most fucking exciting things of childhood. Like you can compare it to like getting a dog for the first time, like watching a horror movie for the first time. It was like watching Monkey Shines and People Under the Stairs. What horror movies would you recommend to children who are aspiring horror fans, or who want to be aspiring horror fans or directors?
Really quick, before I answer the question, what you just said reminded me. I think the reason that Halloween resonates with me the most out of all horror movies of all time is how much of a visceral experience it was. I haven't had that kind of experience since I was a kid. You're taking this movie in for the first time and you're being affected by it. You're scared, you're sweaty, And now, you know, we're all older and we're pretty much desensitized, but yeah, it's a really special experience being able to see that movie for the first time. But top five, I don't know, man. Everything honestly is going to be pre 1990, so I would say I would start them off with the classics: John Carpenter's Halloween, Jaws, The Shining. Let's see. I actually just did a post in Killer Flicks about this. I said, what if you were put in a position where you had to be in a scenario where you had 5 horror movies to watch for the rest of your life? What would it be? And Halloween, Shining. I'm brain farting right now.
Texas Chainsaw?
No, I like Texas Chainsaw, but what am I?
But you brought up The Shining. I figured I'd go into it while you're still thinking about it. Shining was one of the first movies I watched as a kid. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but to this day, The Shining, holding hands with The Exorcist, I believe, are the scariest horror movies ever made. Oh. And people will fight me to the end of the time. They're like, oh, they weren't that scary. I'm just like, try watching it at 3 a.m. by yourself at night. Like,
it's incredible. It's a brilliant movie, and it's kind of cool. I didn't really put this together, but a couple people that reviewed the Bleeding Pumpkin trailer or teaser, they were like, wow, that reminded me of the 1980 trailer to Shining, and I'm like, huh. And I wonder if subconsciously I did that Bleeding Pumpkin. Here, let me grab this really quick. Check this out.
Look at that. Summer. I love that child face. It kind of reminded me of the Jack Torrance face in the
that 1979 Coming This Summer Shining poster. That's a crown jewel in my collection.
Now that was on the original VHS cover for the longest time, was that face. Mm-hmm. and then it was Jack Nicholson's Jack Torrance through the door. But you know, it's interesting that you brought The Shining being a scary movie because, like I said, I believe that's probably the scariest movie, holding hands with The Exorcist. And especially watching as a child, you know, you have this kid who has special needs, and he's got an abusive father. He's got a mother who's afraid of the father, but she's doing her best to make sure that, you know, he's taken care of and that the father's taken care of, and they're secluded. And it's like a lot of things you don't think about when you're a kid. The things you think about when you're a kid is the elevator door opening up and blood coming out. You think about the twins in the middle of the hallway. You think about boobs when the lady gets out of the shower and then she turns to an old lady and it's old boobs, which is cool. But you know, you watch this as a kid. What would be the most impactful thing you remember about seeing The Shining as a kid?
Let's see. You know,
I feel like I'm throwing a lot of questions at you.
I'm just trying to figure out the point in the movie that has impacted me the most. But honestly, I feel like when Jack Nicholson snaps and he's following Shelley Duvall up the stairs, I'm just gonna hit you know, that is just scary shit right there. Like that's why I think I like Halloween so much, because it's realistic. It's not it's not a guy that gets struck by lightning and he gets, you know, I love Friday the 13th and all like supernatural, but when it's realistic, it's relatable and it's scary. And I don't know. I think that's why I like The Shining so much, because it's a story about a father that loses his shit being around his family for too long, and it's like, I don't know. It paved the way for a lot of movies like slow burn psychological thrillers. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's like the granddaddy of those.
And yeah, you had a director who doesn't make horror movies, and he made the scariest horror movie of all time. You know, same with William Friedkin. But it's absolutely terrifying when when Jack Torrance snaps and he's going after Wendy, and you see it in Wendy's face that this is all too familiar. Like, she's been here before, but now it's a few notches up. You know, he's really coming after her, and she's afraid for her life. And Stanley Kubrick as a director, he always had like these little innuendos in his movies that where he didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to have a actor or character tell you what's going on in the situation. You can get it from the body language of these characters. And one of the things he did to Shelley Duvall was he ostracized her from the rest of the cast and crew and made her feel worthless. And he did it purposely so that she would channel her Wendy character, which, you know, thinking about it in real life, it's really fucked up. But it read well on screen, and it was one of those moments where you're actually frightened for this woman as she's
Absolutely.
up the stairs.
And just like the sense of foreboding and claustrophobia in that movie, it's just like you're stuck with this maniacal, fucking crazy guy, and fend for it, you know, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It breaks my heart in these horror groups when people are like, I hated The Shining, just watched it for the first time, and I'm like, no.
So you follow horror everything?
You want to?
I think so. Horror everything. Yeah, I'm a member.
Because every day it's the same shit. Who's better, Freddy, Jason, or Mike Myers? And then is this movie worth it? But then we get the occasional, has anyone seen The Shining? I didn't think it was scary. Has anyone seen The Exorcist? It's not that scary.
Halloween sucked.
Yeah. See, yeah, like Halloween sucked. You know, you'll get that, and it's like, you know, who's the better, Jason, or like, you know, it's like, who is better? Is this movie worth the watch? Is this movie scary? I don't want to invest time in a movie that's going to be scary. And it pisses me off when I see things like that. Like, should I spend my time watching this movie? First off, don't ask for other people's opinions, especially with a group page that has over 145,000 people all telling you different opinions. That's a lot of people stopping you from doing something for yourself. And it's a shame because
I hate this.
Or possibly making you avoid something you may actually like.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I'm kind of seeing a trend on the internet where people aren't, what's a good way to put it? They're not making their own opinions. You know, they're putting polls up, and they're going off of other people's opinions before they give the movie a chance, and that's just.
It's because they don't think they have enough time. Like, should I waste my time to watch The Exorcist or The Shining?
When I saw these movies as a kid, the internet wasn't a thing, so I just went everything blind. I didn't have a pre-flavored opinion of it. Like, if I would have seen The Exorcist for the first time now, knowing that every film is the scariest film since The Exorcist, I mean, that would completely change everything. I mean,
Ark of Doomsday is that.
Yeah, I hear White Doomsday is the scariest film since The Exorcist.
I mean, most of us went off what the art on the VHS was, you know, and that's how I was like, I'm sold by this, you know, and it's Ash holding a chainsaw or whatever it was, you know.
God bless the video store.
It's funny that. Go for it.
I don't want to sound like an old man saying "get off my lawn," but back in my day, we were disappointed. We were disappointed by a film after seeing the cool cover, not because we saw all this hype. Things where it was a simpler time.
That's why every shitty movie from Trauma and Full Moon was viewed as a child, or as Brian when he was a child.
Well, that's why I never saw The Boneyard, because I knew it would be bad, just based off the cover.
And look what happened, Ray. The Boneyard is amazing. And
the Boneyard's hilarious.
I made my mom and Lex watch that a couple weeks ago, and Kevin, they fucking loved it. They're like, "Wow, this is actually really good." I'm like, "You see why I went nuts when we found the locations?" They're like, "Actually, yes." And it was a wonderful moment. I said, if only Ray and Merrick were here to witness it.
Well, you know what's interesting is that, you know, following that, a lot of people, I'm really surprised that a lot of people have never seen Monster Squad. And it was a movie that I looked for all the time at the video store. I saw it once as a kid, and I wanted to see it again. And every time I got it, I wanted to watch it. And then when Sam Goody was still relevant, I ordered the VHS.
Sam Goody.
And there we go. Check that out, Jared. That is an original poster for the Monster Squad on the T-shirt. I love it.
Nice.
And you find out that not a lot of people have seen Monster Squad, and it's only 20 years or so later that everyone's finally starting to see this movie. And the biggest problem was that Monster Squad was released at the same time as The Lost Boys. So there's that.
I hate that movie.
The Lost Boys? I know, it's not that great.
Which one am I talking about?
No, you're not brutal.
Although Monster Squad, if I would have seen Monster Squad as a kid and not a teenager, I probably would have really liked it. But as an adult, it didn't do anything for me. It just reminded me of the Goonies with the Universal Monsters in it. I'm not really a big fan of the Goonies anymore either. But The Lost Boys is, I do not like, that movie sucks. I'm sorry. That movie is not good.
Sacrilege.
I cannot do it.
I doesn't like everything good. He only likes bad stuff.
The Lost Boys.
I give you Blood Diner.
The Lost Boys was the most like homoerotic 80s like vampire movie ever.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. It's so over the like. It reminds me of watching like a late 80s music video that has vampires in it. It's so ridiculous.
It was just missing the Joel Schumacher bat nips. That's all it was missing.
There you go.
I don't know. I like the parts that are actually like frightening vampire related, like at the end when they're like not moodily sitting around abandoned locations being cool and eating Chinese food. Or playing saxophone.
Hey.
But you know,
leave Tim Capella alone.
Yeah,
Healing beats for the best. Fucking Tim
Capella. 40 days.
He still believes. But that's the most iconic scene in the movie is when you have this like greased up muscular saxophone player. That's
the most iconic part of the entire movie. You're telling me
that it really is. It's like the rest of the movie can suck it. Like that's like the only part of the movie that's worth watching. It's just a muscular saxophone player just playing the shit out of saxophone, telling everyone that he still believes. I don't know what he believes, but he still believes.
Yeah, we'll listen to the lyrics of the song.
The part that did it for me though is when they first revealed themselves. And the biker gang around the fire.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That's what got me.
I thought that was cool too, and it was over Run DMC because I was like obsessed with Run DMC when I first saw that. So I was like, I don't know. I like Lost Boys. I like the banter between all the characters.
Yeah, I saw it. My rotation in '88 was Lost Boys, Monster Squad, and Dream Warriors, pretty much.
That sounds like a great childhood, dude. That sounds like an awesome time. I wish that we were friends back when you were 8 and we could have like marathons.
You were like 2 back then, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The horror movies I was watching was fucking Zoobilee Zoo. Leave me alone.
I'm gonna refill my water.
Go ahead, refill your water.
Frank and Winnie, the live action version.
Mike, what are your true feelings of Chopping Mall? Because where the fuck is it?
Chopping Mall.
Yeah.
Chopping Mall is rewatching it as an adult because when I was a kid and I saw it, nothing would ever live up to that poster, and I was really pissed off.
That poster's awful.
Very little chopping in it. For a movie called Chopping Mall, there's remarkably no chopping. So I was always disappointed in it, and then when I rewatched it as an adult, I was like, you know what? This movie completely fails on every promise that it gives you.
Yeah.
But it's a cool movie in its own right. Like, it's actually a really smartly made. It kind of plays with genre conventions, and there's a lot of fun little homages and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I like how the characters are like proactive, and they're a lot smarter than normal horror characters at the time. And then I realized all the Roger Corman references and stuff, and I was like, I like this movie, but not based on what the movie's supposed to, what the movie is presenting to you. It fails at, but it's a cool movie. It's still a little disappointing to me. I still think it had a lot more potential.
What movie are we talking about?
Chopping Mall.
Monster Squad.
Oh man, it's been years. Chopping Mall.
It's worth a revisit. There's some cool stuff in it. A great head explosion scene.
The one scene where on top of the elevator still gets me every time I watch it. It's like, how much do I do for that 6-pack while these killer robots are coming after him?
Yeah. But you know, it's decent. But you know, so I have a little bit of news, guys, that I just found out while we were talking here, and it fits in with the theme of tonight's episode, fan films. as you guys are aware, Tongle was doing a promotion where you could make an Alien fan film, and you had to submit pitches. So I submitted a pitch.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to announce this exclusively on the Horror Syndicate Lives. I just got rejected.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some.
Ryan, where's the flash breaking news thing popping up? It's rejected.
Here we go. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna get that right up. All right.
Now,
Jesus.
if I would have got
that up so good,
yeah, through the internet.
I was about to say, oh shit, Mike's gonna get into this.
I'm gonna direct an Alien movie. So that is if I could direct anything, that's what I would direct is an Alien story. And I mean, when we went into this, the little pitch thing for Tongle, like,
did you guys talk about this before? What you would direct if you could direct anything?
Yes.
Well, so I had to step away my
franchise. That's what I would have picked, because Alien was the movie I was obsessed with since I was like 5. So when I went to do this pitch, I read through all their rules, and I'm like, well, this is the total opposite of what they're asking for. I'm sure to win. So I threw it in there because, you know, what everyone loves about the Alien movies is incredibly uncomfortable existential crisis and bleak. Well, actually, bleak nihilism is pretty. The third one's about that, but my story is out there. I'll just pitch it to you guys real quick. It's called Empty Nest. It's actually, I pitched this to Brian Keane, who then wrote it for the Alien Anthology Bug Hunt.
I think you talked to me about this once.
Yeah, so they did. It was going to be an adaptation of that story. So technically, 20th Century Fox did take my pitch, just in book form and not movie form, and I didn't get paid for it. But it's about a woman who has a miscarriage. During childbirth, her child dies. She loses the baby, and they tell her that she has so much scar tissue in her uterus that she can no longer bear children. So the movie would pick up with her. It was going to open with a shots of a nursery with blood sprayed everywhere. Then I was going to cut to the title screen. Then this is a 5-minute short, so bear with me here. So I'm just going to bring you into this world, right? So it cuts to a close with this woman's face, who's probably going to be Hope from White Doomsday. And she's telling the story about how, you know, she died on the table and they saved her, and, you know, the baby, she lost the baby, all this stuff, and how she feels like she doesn't have a purpose in life anymore because she has no legacy to leave. You know, she won't be able to you know, continue her, you know, her genetics, whatever, and that everything seems very empty. She's going through some postpartum, and you see that she's in a support group for other women who lost their children. So now that's not even the funniest part.
No, it's not that. It's right over your face. It says Mike Lombardo's Alien failed film pitch got fucking rejected.
Oh God! I got
I'm dreaming of a fan Alien fan film.
That's fantastic.
It's right over your face.
Ray is not laughing about miscarriages. He's laughing at
that even worse.
I'm dreaming of an Alien fan film. It says.
Okay. So she did a support group for other women who have lost their children, and she's getting up to leave. And she's going out to smoke a cigarette, and this woman comes up to her and says, "You know, I've been where you are." And the woman's like, "Have you?" And she's like, "You know, I took comfort in my faith." And the woman looks and she's like, "You know." She basically says, I'm pitching this really badly. I'm very tired. She tells this woman that she died on the table and they had to decide to save her or the baby, and the doctors will always save the mother. And she says, "My first breath came from my child's last." She's like, "You don't understand." Like, and then the woman says, "I took comfort in my faith." And she says, "Well, I'm pretty sure that God turned his back on me." And she said, "But mine hasn't." And she says, "I want you to meet some people. I think we can help you." And she takes her to this abandoned factory where it's the meeting place for the Church of the Holy Mother, which is a cult that worships the Xenomorph Queen. And they tell her that they can give her the opportunity to be a mother one last time, because it's been prophesied that from a barren womb, the Queen Mother will emerge, and then they'll all become vessels for her gospel. And they unveil they have an alien egg. And they say, "We have wealthy benefactors that also share our goals." There's a Weyland-Yutani etching on this contraption that's holding it shut. And they basically give this woman the choice. They all have these golden facehugger masks on, too, and these robes. Is really cool. but she gives herself to the alien egg so she can feel what it's like to have life in her one last time. And the movie ends with her laying in the nursery from the beginning before it's bloody, and she lurches and she holds her stomach and looks up smiling and says, "I felt him kick." And then it cuts to the credits.
See, here's the thing. You went darker than Alien 3.
Well, that's what I mean.
People don't like that.
No, people hated Alien 3.
Yeah.
How can I make this even more soul-killing?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, people are probably going to be surprised after seeing White Doomsday that I would do something dark. So I was like, I'm going to try something a little different, you know? But they didn't take it, unfortunately. But, you know, I'm curious to see what does get through on the Tongle pitch, though.
Hey, what you could do is rearrange it and turn it into an original concept.
Well, so what I was thinking is actually because Vince with Never Hike Alone, and you know now I've been giving serious thought when I did that pitch because I knew I wasn't going to get picked. There's no fucking chance in hell 20th Century Fox is going to be $30K to shoot about a woman who has a miscarriage and wants to suicide herself with a fucking alien egg. So I was like, I can just do that as a fan film and just release it because I wrote it to be a small movie so I could feasibly do it. I just don't know what the legality of it is because I feel like 20th Century Fox, now that they're owned by Disney, they're probably very sue happy. So I'm a little frightened, but it might happen.
There's ways around it, Mike. There's total ways around it without it having.
Release it for free. Well, I guess I should ask you, Rene. What is the legality of fan films? Like, how do you skirt the issues?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a gray area, and I'm definitely taking a chance by doing this. But ultimately, this is a for free project. You know, there's going to be zero money made from this. No capital is going to be brought in from this. It's basically, you know, like say if I wanted to paint the Mona Lisa and give it out for free, you know, it's basically it's art. I'm not trying to sell this. I just want to make it to release it.
Well, there was a Star Trek fan film that they had a big budget and everything. That,
I read about that. They had like $1 million or some shit, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know where they got the money from, or if they've crowdfunded or what. But even crowdfunding, like Vince with the Never Hike Alone Blu-ray, it was for production of the Blu-ray, right? And then the rest was given to charity, and he couldn't make more than $50K, so he had to cut it off at 50, right? Is that something like that?
Okay.
Yeah. As long as it's not for profit, I think you're okay for the most part. Yeah. It depends. Probably.
Thinking about Alien, what was it? Alien or Batman Dead End that had the Alien and Predator in it. That fan film. I mean, that was made for $30K.
And it was only like 7 or 8 minutes long, wasn't it?
They had some money behind it, and they didn't get sued. But what I thought was interesting about the Alien fan film contest that Fox had was it's like, you know, with a Friday the 13th or a Halloween fan film, you know, the costume can be expensive. But it's not a fucking alien costume. Like, I don't know too many people that just have access to animatronics and, you know, $17,000 full body xenomorph suits. So I'm really curious to see what kind of fan films actually get made out of this. That's why I wrote mine just to have a single egg because you had to have it in some form.
There's 2 Friday the 13th films that did fundraisers to get the film made too. Voorhees and Mythos or something. So, I mean, you could probably raise money to do something if you really want to try.
I think it's an allotted amount of money before you start showing up on their radar.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's got to go towards production, not any kind of profit. If you cannot profit for it, you got to keep banging at home, because that's what I love to do. Bang at home that it's a fan film, not for profit.
Yeah.
And that's something with the Spirit of Haddonfield that I've been very strict on.
Yeah.
Any single post that I post has corresponding not-for-profit hashtags.
I've noticed that also.
And I've gotten shit for that, and my response is tough. Like I want every single piece of PR that I release to have not-for-profit on it, because it's a passion project, 100%.
Yeah, it's better safe than sorry. Well, hell, even if you had access to the actual franchise, someone could Victor Miller you, and it doesn't matter. Because even if you have the actual intellectual property, you can still get fucked over.
Do the Akkads still own anything for Halloween?
What's that?
The Akkads. I don't know who owns the. Well, I guess Blumhouse owns it completely now, right?
I'm not even sure.
I would assume so if they're putting it, or maybe they like made a contractual with.
What was who put out the original?
Miramax did it for a while, but I don't know who originally had the rights.
Dimension have the rights at some point too?
Mm-hmm.
Or is Dimension and Miramax the same company?
I think Dimension had H2O and Resurrection.
Okay.
Mustafa Akkad had. I think that was
6 was Miramax, wasn't
it? Isn't Dimension Miramax? Aren't they the same?
Oh, it feels like they are.
Or I think that they're the same company.
I think Dimension is a division of Miramax.
So, hey, do we have any off the Dimension topic? Do we have any questions for our guests or anything from Facebook?
I saw something a little bit ago.
I know from the pre-post of the trailer to Loaded Weapon 1. Thank you, Lauren.
Quick thing going on. There's going to be a Liberty Short massacre. It's taking place in Philadelphia. Horror Syndicate is going to be there. Me and Jenny from the Horror Syndicate. It's going to be hosted by Average Film Superstar Lauren Lepre. And on the Saturday night, they are going to be playing Monster Squad after the Short Film Festival. Yeah. And if you're in the Philadelphia area on the weekend of July 17th, please go to Trocadero and check it out. We'll post more information up on our Facebook page. And, of course, if you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see on my profile, along with a bunch of selfies and pictures of my family. And really funny, bad memes. So, yeah, go check it out.
That's true.
I love collecting memes. It is something that gets me through the day.
Some weird shit you post.
You love it.
I do. Most of it.
Get over it.
So I'm not seeing the comment on our feed, but somebody asked earlier, if Rene, if you're looking at working with Vincent at another project anytime soon.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, I saw that too. That was actually Jeremy Brown, who is behind Friday the 13th Mythos. Absolutely, man. I feel like I said earlier, there's a great camaraderie that's been building with me and Vince, and we're homies at this point. And I feel like at this point, not only are we friends, but we're establishing a working relationship with each other. And absolutely, I definitely want to work with Vince on as many projects as possible. He's a sharp dude, and he knows what he's doing when he's on set, and it's really admirable. And just seeing him work is very inspiring. So yes, absolutely, I hope to keep working with Vince.
Nice.
Guys, were there any other questions that we missed? Because I feel like there were some questions.
There was a couple things, but I was going to say we need to get Vince to play Freddy next.
Just give him the whole gambit.
I was actually, because we were playing Never Hike Alone at Scares of Care Film Festival in a few weeks. But I was actually going to ask Vince if he would play the facehugger in my Alien fan film. But clearly 20th Century Fox thought it was too raw, too frightening, so it won't be happening. But, maybe if I would have had Vince attached in the pitch...
Why don't they just make another fucking Die Hard movie?
I don't know. Well, okay, so my original pitch for that, side note, was it was just 7 minutes of somebody playing the flute. I figured it worked once before, so why the fuck not?
Yeah, I was scratching my head on that part.
Yeah, that was... I mean, as long as... what the hell is that actor's name? I can't freaking remember his damn name now. That played the android. Fassbender, right?
Yeah, Fassbender.
Fassbender. Mm-hmm.
I love the Alien movies above all things. But when I sat in that theater and I heard him just look deadpan and say, "Don't worry, I'll do the figure," I fucking lost my mind. I was like, I really am trying not to be 11 years old right now, but I can't.
When have you ever not tried to be 11 years old? Come on.
The theater was dying. I was like, okay, I'm glad it's not just me.
Is that in the newest one? Because I still haven't watched that
one. Covenant. Yeah, well, the opening 10 minutes take place in the Apple store. So that was fun.
It did kind of resemble an Apple store, didn't it?
That movie was trash.
I thought the ending was way over the top, but
I haven't seen it.
I don't think it was too shitty.
I definitely like Rooney Mara's special appearance, the ultra violence that ensues.
Oh, hello, Lex Quinn.
It wasn't as bad as Alien 4.
Lex Quinn, hashtag Lex Quinn no towel.
No, Resurrection was way cool.
Resurrection.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that
Resurrection was fun. Like you get to see the xenomorphs swim underwater. And you're like,
Resurrection
that can't happen, can it?
Resurrection is a really cool. It's a really interesting movie stylistically because the director is mainly does like French fantasy art house.
Yeah.
So
oh man, Delicatessen is my favorite.
But City Lost Children, and like so the movie basically stylistically looks like a French art house movie mixed with American sci-fi. It's such a unique look and style. And it just Joss Whedon's script's a little too comic booky for my taste, but I mean, there's so much cool shit in that movie, and like Brad Dourif, and it's so violent and fun. And Ron Perlman, like, oh, it's got such good stuff in it. I mean, it's cheesy as fuck, though.
Dan Hideya's in it, and that was like right after Clueless. So it's like here's the dad from Clueless getting fucking pummeled by Xenomorph tongue. Which was pretty much his demise in Clueless.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. Clueless. Well, that was in Clueless, the series, the TV show. That's what happened to him at the end. It's the final episode.
There was a series?
Yes, there was. There was also a cartoon show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. The girl from the TV show was actually on Are You Afraid of the Dark, wasn't she?
Possible. I know that it was it Alicia Silverstone, or was it the chick that played Clarissa? It was
Alicia Silverstone in the movie. But the girl who played her character in the TV show, I'm pretty sure, was the blonde girl from Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes. There's a couple of famous Afraid of the Dark.
That's cool.
Yeah. What the fuck are we talking about? How do we get
I don't know. Kind of just trailed off. I think Rene still has 3 other movies that he would recommend for children.
Oh.
Is one of them Tremors?
Oh, I love Tremors. That movie's fun.
I didn't see the new one, the one in the snow. I didn't see it.
Oh my god, yeah, I saw that. It's coming out.
How many are there? Are there 5 now?
I think that's 6.
That's 6.
That's 6, yeah. Cold Day in Hell.
Oh, there's also the TV show. And then there was a sci-fi film with Kevin Bacon that they canceled without airing.
Oh, yeah.
Which was interesting. I just saw some footage from it. It looked kind of neat. I was like, huh, this is different.
It did look pretty cool.
Really bad if they would have filmed at least a couple episodes of it and then canned it. Like, it must have been really bad. For sci-fi to fucking cancel it? Yeah.
Well, they have more movies about sharks to make.
I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like getting turned down from sci-fi channel. That's like being like the prettiest girl at Denny's. It's like it's pretty bad, you know.
The prettiest girl at Denny's. That is
the TV show had the other TV show that Sci-Fi put out had fucking Christopher Lloyd in it as a mad scientist. It was a lot of fun. It was stupid. It was entertaining. You know, I don't know. I'm going off on a lot of tangents. I apologize. I'm still working through this this big news.
Oh wait, hold on real quick.
Wait.
You didn't do the music.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you haven't heard, award-winning director of I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, Mike Lombardo, recently put up a script for a fan film for the Alien series, and he got really exciting news today. In fact, just about 20 minutes ago, Fox Entertainment has reached out to award-winning director of I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, Mike Lombardo, and told him that his Alien concept was wonderfully rejected.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. You didn't tell me. That just happened. There's a hashtag for it and everything. The internet is in shambles right now. I don't know how Facebook is going to get past this. You know, I'm not even upset.
You should have did a fucking fan film for Clueless. The hell's wrong with you?
That was my next pitch. I mean, I already have The Weekend at Bernie's.
Just keep the same storyline, except they're all worshiping like Alicia Silverstone, and then she turns into a face hugger. I don't know if that works.
I think that already happened. I've been down that road before.
All right, so we got about 20 minutes left. Is there any comments on Facebook land that anyone wants to ask?
Somebody, when we were on our tangent about the Lost Boys, somebody said the most homoerotic vampire movie was Interview with the Vampire.
That was of the 90s.
Interview with the Vampire is still a lot. It's still more horror-esque. That like Queen of the Damned or something. That's definitely more in line with Lost Boys. But I mean, Lost Boys kind of has that same vibe that Nightbreed does. Like it's very, very like 90s gay. Like it's a very. Well, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to sound. I'm not saying that in a derogatory manner. I just mean there's a very specific style to that, like early Clive Barker, like the shirtless, six pack with the leather jacket and the oiled up like the saxophone guy.
Yeah, that's still 80s, Mike.
Well, 80s. I mean, the 80s didn't die until like 1994.
And to be fair, Nightbreed was filmed in the 80s, so.
Well, yeah, but it has like Boone has like the big hair. He looks like he walked out of an Aha video. And then started making friends with monsters. Yeah. But Interview with the Vampire is more like Victorian and stuff, so it felt a little bit more.
On me. They just added Interview with the Vampire on Netflix in case those out there who are watching this episode right now, or not, when you watch it on rerun, Interview with the Vampire is now available on Netflix. It is a top 10 Mike Lombardo recommendation for homoerotic vampire movies of all time. So I think it's number 4 on his list.
Right after Sister Act 3.
Yes.
The Habit is Back, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, number 1 is The Omen.
The Omen is a homoerotic vampire.
I don't remember that movie at all. I remember the remake.
So Jeremy Brown gave us a new question. Rene, what can people expect from you after Haddonfield? Do you have something you're following up with, or are you going to take a break?
Oh, no breaks. Mm-mm. There is actually a feature that I'm developing with a good buddy of mine named Brian Goff. He's a producer here in town. And I pitched him the idea about a month ago, and his eyes just got wide. So it's a cool little, it's a horror piece, but yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily the next project we're going to do, but I definitely want to further develop it. It's a horror piece. And then I got a couple other irons in the fire. I got a couple scripts that I need to dust off. That's finish them up, and yeah, there's a couple cool things down the line.
So
but I'm not sure. I'm not sure as of now. I'm not entirely sure what exactly the next project is, but I'm ready.
It's nice that you have more than one avenue to pursue if you want to.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll really see. I mean, I'm not really sure how far along or how far in the future Never Hike Alone 2 would be because of all the legality stuff that's going on. But
jeez, yeah.
It's open book. Whatever comes my way.
So is that not? I mean, I know it's not your movie, but is that lawsuit going to affect that? Because, like I said, there are 2 other fan films, as you mentioned, the Mythos one and Voorhees that are in production now.
I mean, I would consider. I would think that they should be okay because it's a for-free project, and
right.
It's I'm pretty sure. No, they're not internally financing. I'm not sure. I can't really speak on behalf of that. I'm not necessarily a lawyer, but
right.
Rick Miller wants to know where can you find Haddonfield. There's a Facebook page with all the updates. He hasn't announced the release date yet.
No, yeah, we announced the release date a couple weeks ago
in the teaser.
I thought it was. Oh, that's right. No, I thought it was coming with the next trailer, but I guess I'm wrong.
So the Spirit of Haddonfield is going to be dropped on October 1st on YouTube, and it's going to be on my Rene Rivas Productions YouTube.
Don't worry, we'll share it.
And yeah, as far as something we haven't touched on at all, the duration of the short film. With that being said, it is a short film, and we will be announcing how long it is this coming Monday.
Is it a full-length trailer, not just another teaser? Is that correct?
Well, what would you consider full-length?
I guess like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, I guess.
No, it's not that long at all. It's not that long, but it does have footage from the short film.
Okay.
Does it have the entire plot plus the ending?
Because no, it's not a trailer. I just showed the trailer to Vincent DeSanti's buddy, and he's one of my buddies, Ben Meredith, and he got an early cut of the trailer because he's been consulting with some color stuff, and he basically was like, "Rad, it gives just enough." Like, I'm not putting everything in the trailer. Let's put it that way. I want to save a lot of the surprises, but it's a fun little trailer. It's going to set up the tone, and it's going to give you a sense of how I shot it, you know, color palette, sound design, what have you. It's a fun little trailer, and I was watching it earlier today, and I'm like nervous because this project has been going on for 11 months now, and this is going to be the first footage that people are going to see from it. So it's exciting. And I don't know if you guys saw last week, we had the honor of having PJ Souls be the first person in the world to see the trailer.
Oh yeah.
So she gave it some pretty cool praise and said that it has the same suspenseful feel as the original. And I was just like cheesing, running around my room like, yeah.
I bet. That's cool.
It's really
cool. It's a cool little first taste. One thing that I haven't talked about at all is I got to give a super shout out to my cast and crew. Like, you know, like everyone busted their ass, long hours, and everybody put 110% into this, and I can't thank them enough. Our lead, Hannah Owens, crushed it. And when I was going through the casting calls, I think I met with 4 girls, and there was just something about her that felt right. And Hannah has never done any acting in front of a camera per se, but she did have a lot of stage play experience. And when we went, I brought her to location the day that I met her, and I was like, all right, well, let's do some run through, or the next day. And she memorized like, I think 3 pages in one day. So I was very impressed with Hannah, and basically the people that have seen the short film, it's been received very well. Hannah did a kick-ass job, and everybody that was involved did a kick-ass job, and I tip my hat 100% to Nathan Barker, associate producer, and Sean Richards, associate producer, that I've been helping pushing the project. And it was a small crew. It was only 11 of us, but we busted our ass. And Lily McKillop was our special effects makeup artist, and she did a fantastic job. Brian Goff was a producer on the project, and tip my hat to you, Brian. You've been one of my best buddies in town for a long time, and thankfully you were a part of it. Vincent DeSante did a fantastic job. Jeremy Dalaba was our gaffer. It was fun because, you know, this was a passion project, so not a lot of people got paid. Some people got paid, but not a lot. And I'm very thankful for people putting their time into this project, because they believed in it, and they instilled trust in me to be able to execute the story. So I couldn't have done it without my small team.
Guerrilla filmmaking.
Love it.
Does that mean you had to call on a bunch of favors?
No, not necessarily. It was kind of along the lines of our little film community in Flagstaff, my buddies. We haven't really done something in almost 2 years since Northern. So it was kind of just like, hey guys, you want to create something? You guys interested in telling a story? And I just got them pumped on it, and we had a fucking blast.
Great. So I do want to ask.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't know if I missed it because I had to leave for a little bit to do something with my kids. But where did the mask come from?
So this is also going to be a subject of scrutiny, and I'm totally okay with it. I used a TOTS H2 Deluxe, and I modified it a little bit. And what's funny is, after finishing the Spirit of Haddonfield, I wasn't really aware of how big of a mask community there is. Like there's a lot of very talented people out there, and I really wasn't aware of it until I started researching it. And you know, would I go back and use a different mask? No, I'm very happy with how the TOTS looked. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, why did you use a mass-produced mask? Ultimately, it's how you use the mask. It's how you light it. It's how you shoot it. So I'm very happy with the mask selection, and the reason I used it, it's because it's the mask in my collection. It's the only one I own. But I think it turned out pretty dope.
Well, I mean, technically, Michael Myers' mask in the original movie was mass-produced too, right? He didn't modify it. Could you imagine?
It was a silver shamrock, I believe.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Now, the Spirit of Haddonfield, it's a fun little self-contained third-act cat and mouse story, and it's got a plethora of cool little homages and tips of the hat. And I'm excited for you guys to see it because I've watched it probably 100 times at this point, and I'm like burnt out on it. Not burnt out, but I'm just like,
no, you get sick of it because you lose. You can't put yourself in the audience shoes anymore. When I was doing Doomsday, it took 3 years to make that fucking movie. That's a feature. I had to watch that fucking thing so many goddamn times. At festivals now, I just leave. I don't want to watch it again. I just come back at the end because you can never. All you do is you pick out flaws. And
absolutely. I got a list of continuity errors in Spirit of Haddonfield that I hope slipped between the cracks. But
no one's gonna notice it but you. And then 5 years from now, you'll look back and be like, it actually wasn't too fucking bad. While you're in the midst of shitting on whatever you're currently working on.
How much footage did you cut? I mean, like, how much extra footage do you have out there?
Regarding,
I mean, do you have extra footage, or how much did you actually shoot?
With the Spirit of Haddonfield?
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty. I didn't really overshoot that much. I stuck to the script, to the shot summary. Sorry, I could tell that some of this caffeine was wearing off. The shot list. I did get some coverage, just enough because I shot the movie and I edited it. So I basically shot it as an editor. I knew what I needed to tell the story. So I mean, there really wasn't a lot on the cutting room floor. There is. I don't know if I want to give this away.
We have another Horror Syndicate exclusive. Brian, get that hashtag ready.
No.
If you want to.
There was something. Fuck it, I'll just say it. There was something pretty cool in the movie that ended up being ultimately distracting. Ghost Jason made a small cameo in the Spirit of Haddonfield.
I was gonna make a joke about that.
Here we go. I'm gonna put it there. What'd you say? Ghost Jason made a small appearance in the Haddonfield movie.
Well, the Spirit of Jason from Never Hike Alone.
Yeah,
there was a shot. He was way in the distance, and he's holding a trick or treat bag, walking through the frame.
Boom! I just put it up. There we go.
So that'll be included in some BTS stuff down the line.
Oh, so you didn't keep it in there? Oh
no, because it was during a pivotal point where it starts getting suspenseful, and it just kind of felt like it was derailing it a little bit.
Was it Vince in the costume?
No, it was a buddy of mine who actually shot a couple shots as the Shape. And when Vince wasn't around, we had to get a couple pickup shots with my buddy Jeff. And yeah, so that'll get it released one of these days on some BTS stuff. It's funny. I have video of Ghost Jason and Michael Myers like fighting in slow-mo. So that'll get released one of these days. A little BTS nugget.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, so
nice to get the hashtag ready. I meant a new hashtag.
I don't want fans get butthurt over that, but ultimately the shot did get cut, so it'll probably pop up on some BTS reels down the line. But I decided to cut it because it was distracting what I was setting up.
Who do you think would win, Jason or Michael Myers?
Oh my god! No, don't answer that question.
No, okay,
stupid.
Well, that's an interesting point because only that the two would ever get into the same in the same universe and fight is if someone looked in the mirror and said Jason's name 5 times.
Oh my god!
There you go.
But here's the thing: Never Hike Alone. Jason versus Spirit of Haddonfield. Michael Myers.
Vince versus Vince.
Vince versus Vince.
Well, as long as Michael Myers doesn't go to sleep, he's totally safe.
Exactly, and we don't need a leprechaun played by Vern Troyer to come into the room.
Oh,
Warwick Davis, too soon.
Oh shit!
Rest in peace, Vern.
I meant Warwick Davis. That was my mistake.
Doing Brian. Well, I meant that in regards to his career. It's too soon. Oh, they are remaking Leprechaun. There's
Thank God.
No way.
Like a serious Leprechaun. I'm like, okay. I don't know if that's true or not. Or maybe that's the origin. Maybe that's the last one that came out was all serious and shit. I don't know. It's hard.
They're making a Willow, too.
A sequel, or is it a reboot or remake?
Well, since Top Gun 2 is happening, anything can happen.
Like Top Gun 2?
Top Gun 2 is happening.
Isn't Top Gun pretty much the Lost Boys with jets?
Top Gun is a homoerotic vampire movie with jets.
I'm pretty sure that's what that movie is.
I mean, you could be my wingman.
Lost Boys. They were like, okay, let's take this volleyball montage and make it a vampire movie. That's what we're gonna do. Playing with the boys.
And then later on, we had Batnips.
Jeez.
You could be my wingman.
Courtesy of Joel Schumacher and Carl's Jr.
Carl's Jr.
It's Hardee's where I'm from. Sucker.
It's Hardee's here too.
Our only Hardee's closed up like 10 years ago. Hashtag RIP Hardee's.
Wait, what was that hashtag?
Hashtag RIP Hardee's.
What was that hashtag? RIP Hardee's? Here we go.
I never got to eat there. I never got to eat there. I've only heard the tales.
The hashtag,
so I can't imagine it's very good.
The hashtag is up.
I think we've lost our guest.
Where do you?
Oh. There he is.
Shit. What happened? This is the wrong fucking hashtag, Brian.
I don't see anything.
It's the wrong hashtag.
I don't even.
He's really driving that point home there, Lombardo.
No, it's important because if everyone doesn't know, I'm going to be answering this question for the next 2 weeks. Better that people know now. Let's rip that Band-Aid right off. I'm not.
I think he ripped some skin off. He might have you strapped to the table, getting ready to shave you.
Yeah, rip that Band-Aid off and make you smell your own blood.
I am doing a Jason Goes to Hell fan fiction.
Well, let me put that hashtag up real quick.
You gotta get Vince to play the guy getting shaved.
I'm still
extra shave scene.
I'm skirting around the legality of that one because it's being produced by Sam Raimi because Jason Goes to Hell he's an Evil Dead film, and also Barbasol is funding it. So Jason Goes to Hell, a close shave. It's a mouse, he very narrowly escapes just by the hair on his chinny chin chin. You could even say, which gets shaved off. Spoiler alert.
There it goes. It's back up again.
Is it? I don't know. I really just feel like 20th Century Fox was really looking for a movie about women having miscarriages. I felt like that's hot right now, right? I mean, that is what the people want to see.
Yeah, it fits right in the middle of Chucky reboots and Blumhouse Halloween.
Yeah,
right, smack dab in the middle.
I mean, but on a serious note, though, I felt like that thematically, that pitch actually fits more in line with the original Alien and stuff, because the Xenomorph is all about rape and violation and the mockery of birth and all that stuff. So I'm like, it's not too far off. Obviously it's too gnarly for.
Well, no, because the Queen Xenomorph's now a Disney princess, so show some goddamn respect.
So she has to be anti-Semitic.
Do you think? Here's the question. Here's a question for Rene. Rene, do you think I could get Vince to play Chucky and my child's play Phantom?
Well, you're just going to have to figure out how to miniaturize him.
No, I just want him to be in the costume. That'd be weird.
No, we're gonna film it with larger than life sets.
There you go. There you go.
So
ratio filming.
It's kind of ironic that you guys are bringing this up, and I haven't brought this up to anybody. But now that new Child's Play is coming out, probably not. Ever since the Tots Chucky got released, I thought it'd be cool. Not as ambitious as this project, but to do a little 5 to 10 minute Child's Play fan film. I thought that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be fun. Cool. I like those movies. Mike, the first movie is kind of scary. The rest kind of fell off, but I think that I totally disagree with what you said earlier. I don't have the balls to say it to you face to face.
Even as a kid, I never watched horror movies to be scared. I watched them because I like the imagery and stuff. I think with horror you can explore things that you can't. Look, I'm getting all serious now. What the fuck is this? But the Child's Play movies, there's a lot of subtextual stuff to them about the character of Andy and stuff. That's why those movies are relevant still. It was never because of the doll being scary. I mean, back when the first movie came out, you know, the Cabbage Patch dolls were huge and stuff. Like, it scared me as a kid because I had dolls like that.
My buddy.
Yeah, like.
But I had one of those.
But they don't. I really feel like that franchise, they necessarily evolve with the times, because you can't do that anymore. I mean, well, hell, unless you're fucking Charles Band, then you can keep making killer doll movies for the rest of your life.
Yay.
Yeah.
Cutting pre-existing ones into new films and releasing them on DVD with different titles. So
Puppet Master 47.
Buy them a second time without realizing it's not the same.
Garbage Day.
So
Puppet Master 92.
We're here at the 11 o'clock hour Eastern Standard, 10 p.m. Central. Renee, it's been an absolute blast having you on our crazy ass show. It was all business in the beginning, and then it turned to fucking Carnosaur meets Leprechaun.
Hold on. We got more breaking news.
Oh God.
Lonnie, get your ass away from there, Rhymer. He wants a street trash fan film. It can be done for $45 budget or less if you use real homeless.
I would do a street trash.
Street trash.
Street trash.
I'll tell you, I've got the Tenafly Viper labels already, and I've considered putting street trash jokes in a movie already. I will do it.
Oh my God.
And Lonnie Reimer also said 20th Century Fox is going to steal my idea. Lonnie, I present you this. They already did. There is a story in here called Empty Nest, and it was my pitch. My author friend Brian Keene, I gave them the pitch, and he wrote the story. They took it, they loved it, and then so it does exist. We were going to do an adaptation of it. So technically, I did win in some small way, just without the aid of being financially compensated, as is generally the case. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Go back to relevant things.
All right. Well, Renee, shamelessly plug yourself away. Where can we find you? What future projects are you promoting? And all your social media tags. Of course, it was a blast having you on the show. Like I said, joining us with our crazy fucking show. I know it went off the rails towards the end, but that's what makes our show our show.
Weird when I'm not on.
No, that was a lot of fun. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, so I really appreciate you guys bringing me on. And you know, on behalf of myself and my small little crew, we can't wait for you guys to see the Spirit of Haddonfield. But as far as following, you can follow my production company page at Rene Rivas Productions on Instagram. My personal is Rene_R_Rivas, and then Rene R. Rivas on Facebook. Make sure to like the Spirit of Haddonfield page, because that's where I mainly post a lot of the stuff and deets and new stuff and all that good stuff. And yeah.
Alrighty. All right. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian fucking Enright. You can follow me on Facebook as Brian Enright. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Horror Jew. Up next, we have Jared Letourneau. Jared, where can we find you?
You guys can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau or on Twitter at zombie_survivor. Thanks again, Renee, for joining us tonight. Looking forward to seeing your short film. And good night, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, we have award-winning director of I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, Mike Lombardo. Mike, where can we find you?
You can find me on set of the new Alien film. My new movie-quality realistic prop, courtesy of Tongle. You can also find me at www.realsplatter.com. That's real with 2 E's. And you can also find me at Scares That Care Film Festival next month, Genre Blast Film Festival next month, and then you cannot find me in Toronto at the Toronto Indie Horror Film Festival, and you cannot find me in the Steel City Underground Film Festival in Austria. I will not be there either, but they're playing White Doomsday, so I'll be there in spirit.
Oh, James Quinn, yeah.
All right.
That's James Quinn's thing, right?
Yep, it's going to be transferred to film and then projected, which is fucking awesome.
That is badass.
Wow.
Yeah. Not cool enough for 20 cents a box. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. And last but not least, we have our president, Razor, president of the Horror Syndicate. Ray, where can we find you, man?
You can find me caught in a love triangle with two best friends of 30 years. Oh, man. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you very much, Ray, for ruining the lives of almost 40-year-old people.
Hey. 38's state of mind.
I'm not talking about you. I know you're a child.
My life is not ruined, buddy. Believe me.
No, you're fine. Just thinking about all those hearts you're breaking.
So really quick, it'd be cool if maybe later down the line we can link up with Vince and my producer friend Brian Goff and chop it up a little bit more on upcoming stuff.
We should have you on the show again after the film's released. That'd be fun. In October.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We might not be delirious and or drunk that time.
All right, fellas. Well, until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone out there watching. Have a great night. Be safe and enjoy your weekend. And keep being scary. Thank you very much.
All right. Peace, guys.